speaking of the Bourne films,
Yeah.
I do want to reiterate, actually not reiterate, but talk about something specifically that we totally forgot about the last time, and that was like the thing that I was the most excited to talk about, and I completely forgot because that's how my brain works, right? Had cancer and 2 surgeries, so you know, it doesn't really work as well sometimes, but other times it's great. Okay.
True.
Anyways, I want to talk about the music of Kung Fu Panda, the entire franchise.
Gorgeous.
It's done by Hans Zimmer and John Powell.
If you don't know who Hans Zimmer is, I feel very bad for you. He is one of the most talented, one of the hardest working, and most prodigious composers working in cinema today. He is phenomenal. I guarantee you one of your 5 favorite films, he did the music for.
He actually did 5 films in 2011 just alone. I mean, but John Powell, going back to him real quick, in the Bourne movies, if you don't know who John Powell is, he actually works with Hans Zimmer in his production company, which is why he's kind of paired with him a lot, and he shares the credit for the Kung Fu Panda score. Now, John Powell is known as the composer for the Bourne films, all the ones that had Matt Damon in them. Okay, there was one that didn't have Matt Damon in it, and he didn't do that composition, but he did the other one. So he's a very good composer in his own right. But he worked with Hans Zimmer in this one. Hans Zimmer does a lot of collaboration. He likes to collaborate. In fact, he tries to give as much credit to other people as he can. I think on one film he did, he shared the credit for like 30 other people. Yeah, he's just a really cool guy, but he's a very good music composer. I freaking love him. Hands down, is the best. He not only just writes really good music, but he is able to tell a story. In fact, one of the, like, early on in his career, he did the composition for The Thin Red Line. Have you ever seen that film? Now, what makes that film unique is that basically, before any of it was shot, he scored the film. Now, normally it's the other way around. Normally it's like, okay, they finish the film, they give it to the composer, and then the composer does music for it, right? This way, he was given a script and told, hey, write a whole bunch of music to, I guess, identify these certain tones and feelings and emotions that they're trying to evolve. And then they shot to match that. I mean, he did something like 6 hours of music for that film. And some of the stuff he did is has laid the foundation for what other composers do. Like in editing, when they don't have the composition ready, they use some of his stuff from that film as kind of places. So like, hey, we're going to put this in place just so we get an idea of what the music is going to be like.
To further along with how very competent and capable he is, he worked extensively. Hans Zimmer did the music for the Dark Knight trilogy with Christopher Nolan. When he was doing, at least with Batman Begins, and I believe maybe with The Dark Knight as well, he worked with another composer in his production crew, and they divided it right down the line. He did the Batman music, and his partner was doing the Bruce Wayne music. So you had 2 very different voices in the musical representation in the film for that very reason, to try to capture the dichotomy of the character. He is very dedicated to the idea that he's not a classical composer whose music is used in film, as many do operate under. He very much is a film composer, which seems to be a rare thing.
It's not so much
for them to have that mentality.
Classical composer. It's actually because if you're getting to a lot of orchestral music, like I have, there are different eras, and what he does is not what would be called classical. He does romantic, so he's in more than romantic era music. So he's the best modern day example of a romantic era composer, orchestral composer, and so he's able to convey words and feelings and emotions and pictures through sound, and it's amazing. And it was funny you mentioned the Dark Knight series, because the thing is, Hans Zimmer, if you follow his career like I do, because I'm a geek, a lot of what he does in that film, he laid the groundwork in The Thin Red Line. You can see some of the same themes that he picks up and some of the same things that he uses. Same thing where he did the soundtrack for Gladiator. In Gladiator, he has this kind of hero theme that he perfected in the Pirates of the Caribbean soundtrack later on, and I freaking love that soundtrack. Now, the difference in in those movies is that Pirates of the Caribbean was much lighter in tone than Gladiator, and so his theme, his hero theme, if you will, fit that movie so much better than it did Gladiator, which is why I used it, and it was amazing, absolutely hands down amazing. It's probably, I think, number 3 is one of my best most favorite compositions ever, because then everything that he laid the groundwork for in the previous films just comes together and collides and finishes and crescendos.
Amazing.
I absolutely love that film. It's one of those things where, like, if you can listen to the music and call into your mind the scene that is portraying, that is the mark of a good song for me. Come this way. He keeps like moving.
I'm actually kind of trying to avoid the mouse indicator.
Let me move the mouse.
Oh, there we go. Okay, so much better. There we go.
Yeah, you still haven't moved over that much.
I understand, but because I'm nervous. The mouse is going to come back. Anyway, but Hans Zimmer does the work in Kung Fu Panda 2, and he paired it off with John Powell, and it's beautifully evocative, and it's ethnically diverse too, which is also really, really neat. A lot of musicians will have their chosen instruments that they want to work with. These two embraced the reed flute. They just did a phenomenal job.
I forgot what that there was a particular type of instrument that they incorporated in one of the fight scenes.
The Chinese guitar.
Yeah, and that was basically like the Chinese version of a mandolin. It's a folk music instrument. It was amazingly cultural accurate type thing that they use, and again they incorporated that music into the fight scenes, right? So it wasn't like they had the fight scenes first. It's like, okay, we're gonna have this beat, we're gonna have that, we're gonna put it all together, and more so I think than in the first film, they used music to help tell the story. And music was a big part of the second film. So there's actually a lot of really good stuff going on in this film.